And so you're sexualizing this idea of these men. Many of them have autogynephilia. They get a sexual kink out of dressing up as women, and then they're doing that in front of children. And then the children are like, it's one thing to say, hey, they should be able to do whatever they want. People love drag queen shows. You should definitely be able to do that if you're a grown man. But it's another thing to say, let's take children to see this and encourage this, and also encourage these children to participate and to go and give them money. And you know, I've seen these drag queen shows where there was a woman, a trans woman or a drag, I don't know how they identify, but with a G-string and high heels with stars covering their nipples.
What is going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you this evening and bring a video clip of a man talking about a father talking about how he does not see drag queens as a threat to his kids. And so I'm assuming, I can't be certain, man, but I'm assuming he means that kids should be allowed to go to drag shows or, you know, some kind of events where there are drag queens, because again, how would kids be around drag queens if they weren't at drag shows or at some event where drag queens are present? But again, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment.
If the stats literally said that drag queens were a threat to our children, as you're suggesting, then you could produce them. You could show us the studies. But you can't, because they don't exist, because drag queens aren't a threat to our children. And as a father who has a child, I am offended when you make up boogeymen and make up threats that don't actually exist, so that we don't have to address the real threat to our children, which by and large is just straight fucking men. Okay? And by the way, I think that you have a problem with drag queens and trans people and queer people because they threaten your masculinity. You see, I have queer friends. I've been to plenty of drag shows. I live in weird-ass San Francisco, and I have never once considered abandoning my heteronormative lifestyle. I've never once thought, I'm going to leave my wife and child and go be gay for a while because it's trendy. But if you watch Fox News, they'll have you believing that's how this whole thing works. If you go to a drag show once, you'll start wanting to dress like a woman. No, you don't. Unless you wanted to dress like a fucking woman before, which is fine. Do you. But you know what? That's not a drag queen problem. That's a you problem. Go get therapy. Go get some fucking help. Or ignore it and go read the Bible, watch Fox News, and pretend drag queens are a problem.
Man, what is wrong with that guy? I mean, seriously. You know, I mean, it wasn't too many years ago that we understood. We understood, man, you don't take kids to a drag show. And I guess, man, that's what he's talking about, because in what other way would drag queens be around kids? In what other way? So in what other way would drag queens be a threat to kids unless you're taking them to a drag show or some kind of event with drag queens there? Because I don't think drag queens are in the bushes, you know, waiting for kids to come along. I don't think so. I mean, it could be wrong, but I don't think so. But again, man, guys like this, man, they're saying, you know, show me the stats where drag queens are a threat to kids. Well, I think it's pretty well established where you don't take kids around hypersexualized environments. We don't show them porn. You don't corrupt their brains with that kind of stuff. You don't do that, man. I think that's been established. And you can look up these family-friendly drag shows on the internet. Man, they're not so family-friendly. You know, they're twerking and sometimes in thongs and stuff in front of young kids. You can look that stuff up, man. It's crazy. Some of the stuff that parents are okay with now. And again, man, we understood that years ago. We understood, man, you don't take kids to that kind of stuff. And what is really bothering me is Nowadays, we've somehow mainstreamed that. Well, that's normal. We should do that. And as a matter of fact, if you don't want to do that kind of stuff, there's something wrong with you. You're homophobic, you're transphobic, you're whatever. No. We just have common sense. We understand that kids don't belong in those environments. We get that. It's not about being homophobic. It's not about hating gay people. It's about understanding that kids don't belong there. It's also about understanding that we don't belong there. We don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. It's not that I don't like gay people. It's just that I don't want to be at a drag show. And just because I don't want to be at a drag show does not mean I watch too much Fox News that tells me I shouldn't go. No. I really just have no desire to sit there and watch a grown man parading around in women's clothes. I don't want that. I think that's crazy. I think that's perverted. And again, man, years ago, people understood that kind of stuff. And I think the better question is, why do you think that's okay? Why do you think that's okay? Why do you think it's okay to bring your kid to a drag show around a drag queen? Why do you think so? Is there a possibility that you're, perverted? Is that a possibility? See, years ago, man, that's what we would call it. But nowadays, man, people are too afraid to stand up and say things. But that's perverted. And years ago, we understood that. We got that. We understood that. And also, man, what kind of men perform in lingerie, dressed up in women's clothes, high heels, fake breasts? What kind of men do that in front of kids? Perverted men. So yeah, that's your danger right there. And now you're talking about straight men are a threat to kids? Well, look, straight men are the majority of men. So straight men commit the majority of crimes by default. But I think the lack of straight men is what the problem is. The lack of fathers in the homes. And that's a stat you can look up. You're much more likely to be in trouble with the police, go to prison, teenage pregnancy, suicide, be homeless. The list goes on and on if there's not a father in the home. So yeah, we need straight men in the homes. Straight men are not the problem. But again, man, those are stats, actual stats you can look up. But again, what kind of man brings their kids around drag queens to drag shows? I really question that kind of stuff, man. And years ago, we would have called it what it is. Perverted. That's what that is, man. So I think you need to look in the mirror really hard and ask yourself, what kind of darkness, what kind of wokeness am I involved with? And why does it have such a hold over me in my life?
You son of a